Woke up this morning and it was 7:30, which is normally a time that's earlier than I wake up on my weekends. I found out that daylight savings happened last night, so it's actually 8:30, which is when I normally wake up. Since I'm up early now, I guess, I might as well shoot this video before the baby wakes up. So let's see if we can get this done in time. Let's look up the definition of atonement. Not the movie, the word. Hey everybody, welcome back to Titans Talk, the series dedicated to DC Universe's Titans. Today we are talking about season number 2, episode number 9, titled Atonement. So this episode kind of focuses on the Titans splitting up for about the 50th time in 2 seasons. Essentially, Dick Grayson decides to tell the Titans that he was part of the reason why Jericho died and like all the secrets that he's had since, and they just get mad and all go their separate ways. Now, this episode was just like, what the hell for most of it. Yes, I understand why the Titans would be mad at Dick for keeping this secret for so long, but also at the same time, this all happened 5 years ago, and like some of the things are just so stupid why they're still feuding over it, especially since it wasn't technically his fault for killing Jericho. It was Deathstroke who killed him, but I think because Dick takes the responsibility, as well as the rest of the Titans for even getting him involved in the first place, that they feel like they killed, or Dick rather killed, Jericho rather than Deathstroke. But essentially the whole episode is just the Titans scattered once again, where we have Corey off doing her own thing. We find out that Blackfire's coming for her and wants to take over as queen, and there's a big drama there. And then the other main part of the episode is with Connor and Gar. So Gar is tasked with watching over Connor until he wakes up. Supposed to call Bruce once that happens so he can get in touch with Superman. Of course, Gar completely disregards this and decides to rather just introduce him to video games and take him out in the real world where things go sour very quickly because Connor doesn't have that idea of what's right and wrong. And of course, there is Dick Grayson, who decides to go off on his own thing. He decides to go and visit the home of Jericho, talk to his mother, kind of confess what happened between them, how he sort of targeted Jericho and then used him, but it wasn't him that had ultimately killed him, it was rather Deathstroke. So he goes there, confesses to her, and she's like, I don't forgive you, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of have this weird interaction, and then she's like, go inside that room. And of course, who's in the room but Slade Wilson, just sitting in a chair watching TV. Why he is just watching TV, and maybe he was listening to the conversation, maybe he wasn't. That kind of really didn't make a whole lot of sense. But he did seem to have some kind of serious injuries, which I don't remember him taking before. I remember he got in a fight with Dick and Starfire, but the extent of his injuries I don't think were ever really shown. So he definitely has some kind of injury that he's not healing from very quickly. So that kind of leads me to believe that one of two things could happen. Either he is sort of like degenerating from his process with his weapons program, where he's no longer has the full strength that he used to, or something that I think is very interesting, he kind of acts very differently from the Slade Wilson that we normally know, to be like this badass killer. There's this one point where he kind of turns back to the TV and kind of has this weird moment, which I think could have been something messing with his brain, or my other theory is that possibly some portion of Jericho projected himself into Deathstroke before he died. So essentially, Jericho in some way is inside of Deathstroke because he does have that sort of projection power where he could go in and control another person without them knowing. Now, I don't think that Jericho is Slade Wilson, but I think some portion of him may still live within Slade, if that makes any sense. Hopefully they'll figure out some way to have that story work out if that's what happens. But I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. It's just some random theory that I had while watching the episode. And going back to Dick, I think that his weird plan of starting to travel internationally and then he decides to just beat up some cops to get arrested, I honestly have no idea where that's going. I feel like he thinks that by being arrested and locked up that it's going to somehow pay for his sort of sins, I guess, with killing Jericho. I don't really know what way the writing is going with that, but I'm definitely not a fan. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense as to what's going to be happening there. Let's look up the definition of atonement. Not the movie, the word. Reparation for a wrong or injury. So, I mean, I guess his reparation is getting arrested. I mean, I guess that was the whole point of the episode. I mean, I kind of feel like that wasn't really much of a storyline. But Hank and Dawn also had a little bit of an interaction in this one. They had this weird singing moment, which I'm pretty sure they used the same voices of singing as like whoever the Flash uses on CW, or like the cast of like Glee. Like, because if you ever watch that show, they kind of have this weird different voice when they sing, which doesn't quite fully match the actors' actual voices, but it's like close enough that if you're like, oh, they were singing, that would probably be realistic. That was just something stupid and little that I noticed. So essentially, those are my thoughts on season number 2, episode number 9, titled Atonement. Now, next episode, episode number 10, is going to be called Fallen. I feel like they're focused now. I don't read the synopsises or anything like that before the actual episode. I just kind of take the title of the episode at its face value and try and figure out exactly what it could possibly be about. Now, considering that it's called Fallen, I'm guessing that it's going to be about the downfall of kind of like Dick Grayson and like Connor, and having like these sort of fall from grace. Same thing with Hank, now that he's sort of relapsing. So how that whole thing, I think they're just fallen from their grace of like getting back together and amped up as the Titans again. That's the really only direction I see it going. But I mean, they can always surprise us with some weird side story or something like that, and flashback and whatever that they want to do, however they want to do it. But overall, the episode was okay. I didn't like it that much. I feel like it was kind of a fall from where they have been going. But I think that there could be some interesting things where it could go, just not the direction that I would have taken it. But those are essentially my thoughts. If you guys have seen episode number 9, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear them. Also, make sure you subscribe and share these videos, because I noticed that a lot of the people watching these videos are actually unsubscribed. Actually, about 90-something%, which is crazy. So it would definitely help me out a lot if you decide to subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever I may be. I also have a TikTok, which is weird. I only created the account. I haven't done anything with it. If you guys want to see me do something on TikTok, also comment. Other than that, those are my thoughts on episode number 9 of Titans. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Also, as a PS, we didn't wake up the baby while we filmed this video really early in the morning, so great job there. High five.